this is my show. I'm finding stuff out that you want to know. Just ask me a question that I don't know. That's why Finding Stuff Out is the name of the show. So just give me a shout and we'll figure it out with the help of some friends, and the fun never ends on Finding Stuff Out, Finding Stuff Out, Finding Stuff Out. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Finding Stuff Out, the show where I answer questions like...
When I build a tall castle, why does it fall down?
I'm testing it out for you, Zachary. And so far, so good. Just have to put the last piece on and... Almost had it. Well, Zachary, I guess I don't know why castles fall down when you build them tall, but by the end of the show, I'll find out, because thanks to your question, I'm building today's episode around structures, things like skyscrapers, bridges, tunnels, and houses. And here's a question from Emily.
Who made the first structure?
Well, Emily, the answer isn't what I expected, because the first structures on Earth were not made by humans. And no, I don't mean it was built by aliens from another planet. I don't even know if they exist yet or not. Anyway, doesn't mean the answer isn't amazing. Watch this. Animals made the very first structures. Bees were making hives, and ants were making tunnels in the ground when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Birds have been building nests, and beavers have been building dams for millions of years. So humans were not the first creatures to build structures. But it didn't take us long to catch on, which brings me to a question from Matthew.
Why do people build houses?
I made this cartoon to show why I think we do it. Check this out. Once upon a time, people didn't have houses to live in. Then our ancestors built simple structures like this lean-to. It protected them from the rain.
Gronk nice and dry. Oh, Gronk getting toasty.
Shelters also provided shade when it got really hot out.
Oh, Gronk pretty smart.
Houses also protect us from the cold. Houses also kept our ancestors safe from animals that wanted to eat them.
Uh-oh.
Here's another question about structures from Alexander.
Why do we use bricks or wood to make houses?
To answer your question, Alexander, please welcome my special guest, Dr. Effie Boraz. Hi, Effie. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Harrison. I brought you something.
A hard hat?
I'm going to put you to work.
Work? Huh. So Alexander wants to know, why do people use bricks or wood for building houses?
Well, that's a great question. 'Cause historically, people would build with whatever materials they had around them. So if we had a lot of clay, then we would make bricks. And if we have a lot of wood, then we'd utilize wood. However, one material is more durable than the other. So to demonstrate this, I brought us some brick and wood.
Okay. They were the same size and weight before, but Effie soaked one of each in water.
I'm going to ask you to weigh the dry wood first.
Dry wood first. 354 grams.
And now the wood that's been in the water.
Wow, it weighs 515 grams. That's almost like adding another half piece of wood.
So now let's try the dry brick.
Oh, it's heavy. 1.97 kilograms.
And the wet brick?
Oh, it weighs 2.047 kilograms. The wet brick only weighs a tiny bit more than the dry brick.
So what can we conclude from this?
We shouldn't drink water that's been soaking in wood and bricks for 2 weeks?
Well, other than that.
That we should use bricks because the wet wood's gonna end up rotting, right?
Right, because it's more porous, so it actually seeps up water.
So modern houses usually use brick because bricks don't soak up water and eventually rot. But if you want to build something really big, you need something else, steel. So that's why you use steel for skyscrapers.
Absolutely.
Effie told me that skyscrapers are made of steel because compared to wood and brick, steel is stronger and more flexible. A skyscraper needs that because it can get windy up there.
I'm going to have you test that out right now.
Wood versus steel. Let's see what happens when I jump on them.
So let's try the steel first.
So I just jump on this. It holds, but can I really jump on it? Oh, it's a bit like a trampoline.
Right.
Imagine, I'm like the wind pushing on it.
Let's try the wood.
Okay. Oh. It broke.
Right. Unlike the steel, that isn't as strong, so it broke under pressure.
Right, so does that mean wood is not as good of a material as steel or bricks?
Well, they all have their plus and minuses, and you can try that out now. So we're going to build a tree fort.
Awesome.
I'd like you to saw this piece of wood in half.
Okay, I guess I should put my safety gloves on first.
Absolutely. I'll help by holding this.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Well, that wasn't too hard.
Nope. Now I'd like you to nail the two pieces together.
Okay. There we go.
Excellent. So now I'd like you to try sawing this in half.
What is this, steel?
Yep.
Awesome. Never mind a wooden treehouse. I can make a metal tree fortress with this. Is there a trick to this?
No.
I guess my dreams of a tree fortress are over.
Well, you can still build a wooden one.
Really?
Yeah, that's why wood is so popular with smaller buildings, because you can use simple tools to build.
And wood is still strong enough for a structure that isn't super tall, like a house.
Absolutely.
Will you come back later in the show to help me with my great challenge?
Sure will.
Great. Have you ever built a treehouse? I thought mine was going to be great, but wait till you see this treehouse. Every kid's dream is an awesome treehouse, so look up, way up. When I said treehouse, I meant treehouse. Now, this treehouse was not made by an ordinary kid. In fact, it was made by a big kid, someone named Tom Chudley, who's a designer and builder.
Hello there. Come on up here.
Sure. Oh, it's high up. Whoa, this is awesome. I'm in a sphere in a tree. Whoa.
So, have you ever been in a ball before?
I haven't. This is really cool. So why do you make tree houses?
Well, you see, I think people should spend a lot more time in the trees. I think if people spent more time out here, they'd probably have more love for the forest and protect it better than they do.
Tom gets his ideas for how to build his tree houses from the forest.
And a lot of it's mimicking nature's way of doing things, like nature uses a nutshell because it's a hard shell and it can take a knock. And then you hang nutshells from a spider web of rope that's nice and stretchy, and the spider's web still lets the trees move around.
Awesome.
It's using nature's ideas, kind of.
How do these tree houses stay up in the air?
These are the ropes that hold the sphere up.
Right?
And up there you can see where one of the tethers, the suspension elements, attached to the trees. Tension in the suspension ropes is what holds it up.
Tension. I really need some clarification on this tension thing.
Well, I've got a little model here. This is a model of a sphere hanging in the trees. When we put weight on this sphere, the elastics get a little longer. The elastics are in tension. Tension is a force that tends to stretch things.
So I can hang on these and they're fine, right? Because
And
of
you
all
put
the tension.
tension on the rope and it lifts you up off the ground.
Cool. So I see you have some guest books here. Does that mean people stay in these things?
Yeah, we rent these out to overnight guests. In fact, we get guests from all over the world, and a lot of them leave great comments in the guest books.
Well, thanks for showing me around your tree houses, and thanks for being on my show.
Oh, it's been a ball. Thanks. There's
something else besides tension that keeps structures standing. It's called compression. See the arches on this building? You see them a lot in castles. The stones at the top press against each other, making the building stronger. All this talk about tension and compression gives me an idea for a song. Tension, compression, they help make structures strong, so buildings can be very tall and bridges very long. Compression means you're pushing and something's pushing back. Tension means you're pulling till there isn't any slack. Yes, tension, compression, they're what makes structures strong, so buildings can climb very high and bridges very long. Now you can find out for yourself what compression feels like. Uh-oh, do try this at home. Okay, ready? This is how you can make an arch. And Jessica, Sophia, Massimo, and Kevin are going to show you how to do it. If you have a family member that's not too much shorter or taller than you, grab them because you can do this too. We're going to start off by taking their palms of their hands and putting them together. And then they're gonna make a big arch. And they're gonna start to move their feet back like Kevin's doing right there. And there we go. This is actually compression, so if I push down, oh, that's pretty strong right there. Ugh. Whew. And let's see how this one is. Oh, that's pretty good too. Oh. If you're alone at home, you can try this too by doing it against the wall. Thanks guys for helping out. You guys held up well under pressure. And here's another question.
How do spiders make webs?
Well, a spider web is a very strong structure. Spiders spin webs with the silk they make in their own body. It's amazing. The entire spider web is under tension. Tension happens when, instead of things pushing together, they pull in opposite directions. When the spider attaches its web to branches like this, the web is stretched between the two. That's tension. Just like the cables that hold Tom's treehouse to the trees. Now here's a question from Mateo.
How do bridges hold up?
When we cross a bridge, it's usually high up in the air, so bridges have to be strong because you wouldn't want to fall into whatever's underneath it, especially if it's like what's lurking in. My Great Challenge! I say especially, because today on My Great Challenge, we have an especially scary challenge. Our challengers are going to have to build a bridge, but not any bridge over any old obstacle. It's a bridge over Dinosaur Valley. Today, I have two sets of challengers. Team number 1 is Massimo and Kevin, and team number 2 is Sophia and Jessica. Are you guys nervous to cross Dinosaur Valley?
No.
Well, that's good, because right now, we just have a boardwalk, which hopefully you guys can turn into a bridge. We're gonna need to suspend it in the air with something like a tower. What is the best material to make a tower out of?
Well, I would make it out of either concrete or steel trusses.
What is a truss?
Well, a truss is simply a beam made out of triangles.
Oh, well, I think we have an even better material today. Noodles and marshmallows. Well, better tasting, at least. So you have to make sure that your bridge is strong enough to hold up this Jeep full of paleontologists. The first one to build it successfully will be the winner. Are all of you ready?
Yeah!
Okay, and go. Both teams are starting to build the towers that will hold up their bridges. Team 2 has put the noodle through the marshmallow. Team 1 seems to be building the base of their tower. Good thing there's a lot of noodles. Team 2 is having a hard time getting the marshmallows to stand. We have some very complex engineering going on here with Jessica and Sophia. The materials are fragile. The trick will be finding the right shapes to make their structure strong. It looks like they're making like a tent right now.
Right, that might work. But remember, it has to fit the dinosaur underneath it, guys. Still a little short.
Oh, yes.
Team number 2 is having a little bit trouble of keeping their poles up right now.
Right. We have a stability issue.
Yeah.
And over there, looks like we're making a,
Triangle. Maybe they're taking note of what you said about
They
the
are.
trusses, you know?
Right, absolutely, because the triangle is the strongest structure.
Team number 2 is adding more support.
Yes.
They're starting to do the triangle things. And
Right, so these triangles actually help this stay put. Remember, guys, that Jeep needs to
the
be
Jeep needs to-
stable.
No, it doesn't.
Team number 2 is looking ahead right now.
Looking pretty good, girls.
See, snap marshmallow.
Oh, we have a problem with team number 1.
How many more are you gonna snap? I don't know. You already snapped 3 and I snapped 2.
Arguments between engineers. It happens.
Team 2 is ready to test their bridge. But is it high enough to go over the dinosaur?
We're done.
You're done? Let's see. Will the paleontologists make it? I think it's good.
And they did.
Team number 2's our winner. Congratulations, team number 2. What do you think they did right with their structure?
Well, I'm really impressed by this. What they did is they utilized the strength of a triangle, and they did it multiple times.
So what was your strategy? Did you know you were going to do this right away, or did you kind of come up with it while you were building? Or
We came up with it while we were building.
Wow.
So now the paleontologists are not gonna get used to it.
Yeah, the paleontologists are safe. Thanks for playing my great challenge, but both teams win a nice meal of noodles with marshmallow sauce. Everybody has a dream structure. If you could build any structure, what would it look like?
It would be a square blue yacht with my face on it.
A tree house that has like spy equipment.
I would want a big black hole that nobody knows, and there's gonna be like a whole bunch of milkshakes there.
I'd have this big movie set that I could have a bunch of people doing a movie about me.
I would build this humongous transparent glass tube that leads to the moon. I can go to the moon whenever I want.
I'd build a nice, simple, cozy house just for me and my dog, but on Saturn, on the ring.
So it would be spinning around, right?
Yep, that's the most fun part.
Well, there you have it. Now we just have to find out how to build them.
Why do people don't live in the Tower of Pisa?
The Flat Earth Corner! Why don't people live in the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Because they don't know what they're missing. That's why. What a change from boring places with level floors. You'll always find your marbles in my tower. And if you buy now, I have a nice little unit on the top floor that I'm selling for 20% off. Did I say 20% off? I meant 50% off, and I'll include a parachute for every member of your family. What are you waiting for? It's perfectly safe, or my name isn't Viote Salvi, the 12th century architect. Uh-oh, I mean, what was that, Mama? Yes, Mama, I'm coming. Her Venetian blinds are stuck again. Actually, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was built as a bell tower, so it would have been very loud to live there anyway, if you could. But even if it had been meant to be lived in, you couldn't. Its foundation wasn't deep enough to keep it standing up straight. The foundation is the part of the building that's under the ground. And the ground there is also soft. So not long after they built it, almost 900 years ago, it started to shift. It took the people who designed buildings hundreds of years to learn how to make safe structures, especially really tall ones. That's why today, when we build skyscrapers, we dig very deep foundations to anchor them into the ground, so they can climb safely into the sky. Not like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And that brings me back to the question that laid the foundation for today's show.
When I build a tall castle, why does it fall down?
Well, Zachary, the big answer is... gravity. Gravity is what keeps us from being flung into outer space. So if I throw my drumstick into the air, it comes back down. Thanks, gravity. But the downside of gravity is that anything heavier than the air around us, like a castle, will fall down unless it's built with a lot of support. After many years, wind and rain and heat and freezing cold can weaken real castles and other buildings. So if we don't repair them, they might fall down. the case of a castle like this, it also has to do with something called the center of gravity. Remember when I asked you to try this at home? Your center of gravity is where most of your weight is, in a position where you're most stable. But if you shift your weight away from the center of gravity, you, or a structure like a castle, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa, will become unstable. And I'm getting Pisa'd! Of course, Zachary. In real buildings, they dig foundations and cement, nail, or weld materials together. That makes buildings really solid. Our homemade castles don't have that, so we have to be extra careful with the center of gravity. Now that I know what a center of gravity is, I can keep my containers in the center, so gravity won't knock my castle down. See? Yes! Ta-da! Oh well. I guess practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching Finding Stuff Out. See you next time. I wonder if my neighbors have a beaver that I can borrow. Tension, compression, they help make structures strong. So buildings can be very tall and bridges very long. Compression means you're pushing and something's pushing back. Tension means you're pulling till there isn't any slack. Yes, tension, compression, they're what makes structures strong. So buildings can climb very high and bridges very long.